In this lesson, you're going to learn the fingerstyle tremolo picking technique, which is one of the most beautiful sounds you can get finger picking your guitar. This particular technique is notorious for being difficult to play. However, it doesn't have to be and won't be if you follow what I'm going to show you in today's lesson. Hi, I'm Simon Candy from Acoustic Guitar Lessons Online.net. Now, when I first came across the fingerstyle technique of tremolo picking, I had a pretty hard time trying to make it sound any good. I was all thumbs when it came to this particular technique, and it was particularly frustrating because at this point in my playing, I was a pretty good finger picker, but the tremolo picking technique had me stumped and feeling like a beginner all over again. Now, don't get me wrong, this technique does take practice and it won't happen instantly for you. However, there are some key things you must focus on when developing fingerstyle tremolo picking that will make it so much easier for you to do. What you're about to see is an excerpt from a lesson I gave a student at a live music event in Chicago. Watch carefully as I demonstrate the fingerstyle tremolo picking technique and how best to train it so this beautiful sound can become part of your fingerpicking guitar playing. At the end of the video, I'm also going to share with you a strategy for improving the efficiency of your fingerpicking hand movements big time. The more relaxed you are, the more efficient your fingers will move. Now, the more efficient your fingers move, the easier, faster, and more fluent your fingerpicking becomes. So make sure you watch the video until the end, and I'll share with you this very cool technique for training machine-like efficiency into your finger-picking guitar playing. So, finger-picking efficiency?
Yeah, I feel like my right hand is a bit of a disaster. My left hand is pretty well developed, but when I try to be dynamic, I feel like when I hit hard, one thing happens, I lose control. Second thing happens, my ring finger gets noisy and clucky. So it's a number of issues. It's an efficiency issue. It's a tensing thing, trying to be dynamic. I tend to be mousy with my right hand. So anything right hand, I could use some help with.
Okay. Can you just...
Sure. Yeah, there's like a...
Or even an example of where you feel it.
Specifically, if I'm trying to do something quick, like... It's like...
It's like the tremolo sort of pattern. Yeah. So, if we're looking at that type of thing, a really good way to develop control in your finger-picking hand is accents, right? So if we're playing, let's say we take this pattern, so we've got the thumb on the bottom string, and we've got, were you doing like the ring, middle, index?
Yes.
Yep, ring, middle, index. Okay, so let's play this pattern, but let's really accent the ring finger, okay? So it'd sound like this. So the idea is to have that ring finger really stand out, and you can do that also by backing off on the others. So it's not just making this louder, it's being softer on these, so we're totally focusing on the ring finger. Then we could do the same, but with the middle finger. So it's going to sound different dynamically. It'll be something like this. You really want to make it pop. Yeah, really accent it. And then, as you can probably guess, index finger. Okay, so let's do the index finger this time. So we'd be... Now, do the thumb. So you could take any pattern and do this. Right?
Okay.
It's just accenting, taking turns accenting. So depending on the pattern, you might have more of a challenge doing it. That's a good thing. More control. So being, attacking with the finger will help just isolate that finger and really get that connection. And then, the others backing off will take care of the other side. They all go through that cycle, and then you get much more control over your over that. And if you want to, bring a certain part out, you can. But something you could add to that would be just to cycle through them. So perhaps ring finger. Right, so you can cycle through them, which is a little harder to do. You might do a few cycles on one before changing to the other, not necessarily one on each. And you can do it with anything. And if you work on that, you're going to get much more control over your attack. You've got nails there? Yeah.
A bit.
Yeah, so nails, of course,
Yeah.
help. Do you use any sort of nail strengthener in there?
No, but I should start. What do you recommend?
Harome.
Yeah.
Because you do get more tone out of your fingers with it. For me, I put a coat on and straight away, you put 2 coats on, take off, 2 coats on, take off, 2 weeks. There's different strengths. Yeah. And it really does help, and it does keep them, harder.
Yeah, I find my nails break often. Yeah. That's a bit of a bummer.
Yeah. Definitely worth it. The other thing, just when you were talking about efficiency, what I find helps with efficiency in fingerpicking, let's just over on a knee chord, is to play a pattern whilst leaving a finger on the string. So let's say we're going to play P-I-M-I, P-I-M, and as I do that, I'm keeping my ring finger on the top string. Right? Yeah. So it's keeping this hand and these fingers close to the strings. We want to make sure we're not pushing down on that string and gripping and tensing up. It's very light, but it's just sitting on there rather than perhaps having it float above or pulling away from the strings. You just keep that the ring finger on, and then have the other fingers play a pattern just straight up and down. Then you could do the middle finger and keep that on its string, the second string, and we could, same thing, nice and relaxed. So you're just keeping that middle finger on the second string as the thumb, index and ring pick up. And then of course we could do the index staying planted down. Okay, so it's going to keep this more efficient and sitting above the strings. Of course, you're not going to play like that. Sure. But it's going to keep the hand in position and just minimal movements in the fingers. You really, ideally, for the most part, want just the hand nice and still and just off from the fingers, unless you're, doing this thing where you're pulling away from the strings. Right. So I find that has helped a lot over time in terms of just getting more efficient movement. Okay, so let's just summarize what you saw there in that lesson. So with the fingerstyle tremolo picking technique, it's going to be using your thumb and the 3 fingers of your finger picking hand. So P for thumb, I, index, M middle, and A is our ring finger. So let's say, let's look at the 3 fingers first. So the idea is that your ring finger, then your middle, and then your index are plucking the same string, one after the other. So in this case, the top string. So it's my ring finger, then my middle, and then my index. That's the idea. So you're hearing the same string being plucked. The thumb comes into play and plays on the lower strings typically, or some sort of arpeggio pattern in the lower part of a chord. I'll just keep it on the low string for the moment. So the thumb comes in and will play the lower string, and we get this 16th note feel. That's what we're after, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a, as we pluck with the thumb and the 3 fingers, like this. So it's like 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and okay. That's the basic technique there. I was sharing with you in that lesson a good way to get control and dynamics with your finger picking overall, but with the fingerstyle tremolo picking technique in this context. And that is to take turns accenting the fingers and the thumb. So for example, accenting meaning play louder with that particular finger when it comes up in the pattern. And by looking at the other end, play softer with the other fingers so that one that you pluck louder stands out. You want it to stand out as much as you can possibly make it stand out. So if I was to accent with my ring finger, or if I was, and you do that for a little longer, but if I was to do then the middle finger, okay, or my index finger, or the thumb. Okay, you get the idea. Accenting each finger or combination of fingers, it is challenging because you really got to engage your brain with the fingers, which is great, and it gives you more control. It not only builds the attack and the fluency and the speed, but also the control over the sound and the dynamic as well. So that's very important to do and very beneficial to the overall technique. Now the thumb typically plays sort of up and down, some sort of arpeggio pattern on a chord is typically what happens in the tremolo technique. So if I'm on an E chord like I am here, it might do something like this. Just moving up and down, or I could pick another, pedal another string like the B string there as I play up and down with my thumb. So, that's the basic idea with the fingerstyle tremolo technique. The finger efficiency strategy I shared with you there at the end, let me just quickly go over that for you. So if I stay on an E chord, the idea here is to build efficiency into our finger picking hand, because no matter what you might think, I bet you can become more efficient with your finger picking hand. So this approach gets you with the three fingers just resting lightly on their three strings, the index, middle and ring on the top three strings. The thumb is on the bottom string. And then I'm going to pick a pattern that goes P, I, A, I. So in other words, my middle finger is not part of this pattern. So the middle finger stays planted on the second string as my other fingers pluck around it, like this. Okay, the idea is that keeping that second finger, middle finger on the second string, it means that you can't really move that hand too much, if at all, because you're going to come away with that finger. So the idea is to keep the finger planted down on the string, and it will minimize the movements of the other fingers. Don't be pushing really hard on it. We don't want to add tension here. We want to be nice and relaxed, but keep that finger grounded or anchored down on the string, the one that's not being used in the pattern. So if I took the same chord, similar pattern, but I'll play with my index and my middle. So my ring finger will stay planted down on the top string, and it will sound like this or look like this. As you can see, my ring finger is staying down on that first string. I'm not having it up in the air as I pluck these other strings, and see, that way I'm more likely to put a lot more movement in the hand. Even though it doesn't look like there's a whole lot more movement in there, you realize how much there is when you keep one of those fingers anchored down on the string. So it's not how we play, but it's the purpose of the training drill to build the efficiency into the finger picking hand. That's what we're doing, keeping a finger planted down when playing certain finger picking patterns. So that is going to be really good for your finger picking hand efficiency, and will spill over into things just like the fingerstyle tremolo picking technique. Tired of trying to work out how to finger pick guitar on your own? Few ever really succeed at doing this. Why? Because it's incredibly difficult to do, and at best, if you succeed, it's guaranteed to take a hell of a lot longer than having someone who knows what they are doing help, guide, support, and train you in how to best fingerpick your guitar. If you would like to take the road of least resistance, saving yourself much time and frustration, then check out a very special course I've designed for the fingerpicking guitarist called the Ultimate Fingerpicking Guitar Course. Whether you're just starting out or have fingerpicked before, this course lays out the steps for you one by one in the correct order along the pathway to mastering fingerpicking guitar. You're going to learn and master all the key concepts, methods, strategies and techniques needed for fingerpicking, avoiding the all too common mistakes most people make when learning to fingerpick guitar. With the Ultimate Fingerpicking Guitar Course, you will have your hand held every step of the way, taking you from where you are right now with your fingerpicking to where you would love to be, enjoying every part of the process along the way. So click the link in the top right hand corner of this video or the link in the description below the video and be sure to check out the Ultimate Fingerpicking Guitar Course. It may just be the thing you need for your fingerpicking guitar playing. Let me know in the comments section what acoustic guitar topics you would like to see covered in future videos. I'm all ears and I'll read every comment, so I'd love to hear your suggestions. If you like this video, hit that subscribe button and don't forget to hit the notification bell button so YouTube can tell you when I have a new video. This is Simon Candy from acousticguitarlessonsonline.net. Thanks for watching this video. I really appreciate your time as always, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video.